base de claro neve com açúcar e açúcar de confeiteiro. Fui acrescentando a farinha peneirada.
Já usou ou você não usou?
Não, já usei. Eu fiz massa com faca de pimenta. Foi chocolate com pimenta. A massa com pimentinha e a ganache. Tá pronta a ganache de chocolate a leite com lavanda e cor de chocolate. Vou botar noite.
Você fez de vários tamanhos, macarrons? Sim. Propositalmente?
Propositalmente, porque eu
medi... degradê.
Eu medi aqui para fazer o degradê e para não ficar espaços vazios. Então tem dois tamanhos que vocês
I had to leave my baby in the hospital NICU.
If we come together, we can help every mom and baby be healthy and strong.
Joy March for Babies, a mother of a movement.
Dear hero, you save lives. I have sickle cell. It's a genetic disease, so that's why I need blood to be able to live.
We just hit a roadside bomb. The next thing I remember, I woke up in Germany. The doctor came in and said, amputate your leg. I had to get a lot of blood transfusion to stay alive.
Because of you, I'm allowed to see my son grow up.
Because of you, I got a second chance at life.
It used to be you just took for granted Bob Baffert was going to be here each and every year with a chance to win the Kentucky Derby, and that a little over 3 years ago that changed. It has been a long road back, but Bob Baffert is here and with a chance to win the Kentucky Derby. Scott Hazelton is with him.
Bob Baffert sent out the 2-year-old champion Citizen Bull. How fast is he going to have to go to get a good position going into the first turn in your mind?
Well, I mean, the break is the key. He needs to leave there, and hopefully he gets a clear break. Martin, you know, he knows how to ride my horses. He knows how this horse, the only way he can be effective is to be on the lead, and hopefully, you know, he doesn't have company, but you just don't know in the Derby. And the mud, you don't know how they're going to handle it. So far, all my horses, they've been running well. They've showed up. They're running well. They've come up short, but we're just hoping for a clean break because that one hole, it's tough, but, you know, Martin, that's a Martin problem now.
As far as the experience that you've had this week here at Churchill Downs and the horses that you said have run well, have you seen a theme over the course of your career when others are running well, they all tend to run well?
Well, yeah, I mean, I brought some really nice horses. You know, I went to the barn and you want to, you know, the whole world's watching, you know, bring your best, and, you know, we don't wear our good shoes till Sunday, so we brought them here, and we're hoping, you know, we won a couple here, but we sure like to knock off this. This would be amazing if we could knock this off.
Why is that?
Because anytime you win the Kentucky Derby, it's amazing, I'm telling you. And your dad was a great guy, great trainer that I looked up to. And I wish he's a better trainer than I was. He should have won one of these.
He would have hated the crowds, though, Bob. I don't know how he would have handled that.
He would have never talked to the media. I know that.
We appreciate the time spending with you here this week, and good luck, Bob.
Thank you.
Is this a different Bob Baffert personality-wise now that he's been down this road and been away for about 3.5 years?
Yeah, I mean, he's happy to be back. You could see that. But he's come in here this week, and, you know, you might have sat on the sidelines and thought he's going to be guarded with the media. No, he knows what he's doing. He's accepted every media question that's been thrown at him, and yeah, he's looking to become the all-time Kentucky Derby winning trainer.
Two very different personalities. They knew him as plain Ben Jones. He set the standard with 6 wins, and then Bob Baffert, a different approach, tied at 6 wins. He would become the all-time winningest by himself in Kentucky Derby history if he gets the win today. Gabby?
So happy to be joined by Garrett O'Rourke with Judd Mundt behind Final Gambit. I just asked you this off air. I'll ask you again. Does that walkover ever get old?
It never does. I mean, you think on a day like this you might not want to do it, and you go over and everyone is slapping hands and cheering, and it's something like we don't have in the sport, and it's just great.
What is the camp?
Honestly, it's probably just as well we're on the inside. We're not going to be jockeying for position with anyone early, and we've got tons of speed around us. I think we'll be fine for the first furlong or so, and then we'll see when everyone starts coming in where we are and how much we get shuffled back. But hopefully it's not an interference.
How do you gauge how good this horse can be on the dirt? Obviously, we know what he's been like on other surfaces, but on a dirt course, especially that's sealed.
Honestly, there's no way to gauge until you put them into competition, and we'll find out here in whatever it is, 30 minutes. But he's trained well. You know, he won a big race on poly track. He's by not this time. He's out of a Tappet mare. There's some dirt pedigree underneath. But it's the Derby. You've got to take a shot. We talked about it briefly, and the family wanted to come here, so we're here.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Some chanting going on in the background, but the big race that he was referring to that he won is the Jeff Ruby Stakes. That is the big prep at Turfway Park. So how have they done out of the Jeff Ruby Stakes? Taking a look at two fills back in 2023, a very good second. Rich Strike, the shocking upset in 2022, got in off the also eligible. It shocked the world at 80-1. Animal Kingdom for Graham Motion back in 2011. Hard Spun, that was a good crop in 2007. That included Curlin. He was second in the Kentucky Derby. Let's watch this year's edition of the Jeff Ruby Stakes and Final Gambit. Don't forget about Flying Mohawk. Here's Tony Kalo with the call.
So here comes Final Gambit to the far outside, rolling home like a good thing. Check out Final Gambit and Luan Machado. They win the Jeff Ruby Stakes going away. Flying Mohawk was second.
Well, I don't care what surface he's on. He's got a beautiful stride, Christina.
He does. And remember we talked about this with the City of Troy prior to the Breeders' Cup Classic. I think oftentimes when you see those horses that reach and that lengthen their stride as they accelerate, they lean a little bit more turf. But he is by Not This Time, who I think is the most versatile sire that we have going in the game right now. Turf sprinters, dirt marathoners. You think of horses like Epicenter, Next, Anatolian. These are horses that can win on the main track. We're not going to know until they run the race today because he's never tried it. The other thing to be concerned about is the kickback. As you heard from Garrett O'Rourke, he is going to drop back. He is going to make one run. So even if he's a horse that can handle the main track, can handle the sloppy track, can he also handle kickback and mud flying back in his face? Okay, we showed you the walkover. Everyone's completed it, and Gabby is with someone who is in the paddock now.
So happy to be joined by Jason Worth. What's going on here? Are we live?
No idea. I'm new to social media, so this is all something I'm just experimenting with, I guess. I don't know what's going on right now. This is the craziest thing you'd ever be a part of. Coolest sport, coolest game. The walkover is incredible. It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal. It's the most prestigious thing you can do in life, I would say. And I don't think there's anything above it. The atmosphere at Churchill Downs, all the people, all the fans, the horses, most importantly, they're unbelievable. I got in this game just recently. I'm all new to this. We shouldn't even be here with this horse. He's put us in this position, and it's intense is what it is. It's crazy, and here we are. We got a shot. We got the track we wanted. We were praying for rain, and we got the jockey, we got the trainer, we got the horse. Who knows what's going to happen?
Did you do a little rain dance last night?
I don't believe in rain. We got what we wanted, though. I know that.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck. It's an awesome experience, and just so happy you can be a part of it.
Yeah, me too. 2 years in a row. Who would have thought it? Thank you.
He has quickly become a great ambassador for the sport of thoroughbred racing. We wish him the best of luck. 2-8 Racing with Flying Mohawk currently up on the board at 26-1. 26 minutes until post time for the Kentucky Derby. But as we said, a lot of racetracks trying to wrap up their racing, so this will be the sole focus. One of them is Oaklawn Park. The field loading quickly for race 10. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Posse's Bandit next up. Arcoma loading in behind him. Markinsaw. 3 back. Percy Road. 2 back. Willie Cuts. Post 12. And to the outside post, Flat Out Blessed to round out the field. Here's Flat Out Blessed. Laren Delorme completing the line. We're ready to go. And Laroff Viney gets the first call of the race. Willie Cutts is hustled for speed in the early stages, and Hicko between that pair firing forward. Cowboy Sense not far off. Cowboy Sense on the inside going to the lead with Hicko, who takes a hold, is pressing from the outside. Willie Cutts runs in the third. Flat Out Blessed right behind him. Then Markinsaw well off the fence today. Must be about 5 lengths off. Dueling leaders who are right together with a half mile to go. We come back in the field to a line of 3. Castle Gap on the inside. God's Country and Percy Road. Another 2 more to Viney and Arcoma as they go into the far turn run. Cowboy Sense into the turn, loses the lead to Hicko, the favorite, who's a neck in front of Cowboy Sense. A length back to Flat Out Blessed, pumped upon from the third position. Willie Cutts between horses right now. God's Country getting closer on the rail, searching for racing room, and the rails open up for him. Wide open for God's Country as Cowboy Sense tried to lug out, turning for home. They come down the stretch. Hicko's the one to catch. God's Country on the inside, attempting to run by him now. These two well clear of the others. Markinsaw's into third. It's Hicko approaching the 16th. Pole opens up two as he switches leads from God's Country, Markinsaw, and Percy Road. Hicko will break the maiden today. It's Hicko's day. Hicko by 2. Keith Asmussen, Ron Moquette with a double. God's Country second. Markinsaw third. Percy Road fourth.
All right, from Hot Springs, Arkansas, back here to Louisville, Kentucky. The jockeys are making their walk from the jockeys' room, and they're going in order, obviously, numerical order of their mounts. So you have Martin Garcia leading the way, and there was, in fact, I think we'll see it here in this. I like to look at the expression, how they're handling it. Watch when we get to Umberto Rispoli. Obviously, he's going to be 8 here. Here he comes, the Eclipse Thoroughbred Silks. There's like a look in his eyes that is right.
Yeah.
We saw Michael McCarthy trying to breathe, and we see Umberto Rispoli just locked in with those that tense stare.
As Simon has kind of talked about throughout the week, he does have that kind of cockiness, but I think he feels like, this is mine.
Yeah.
I've deserved this moment. I've worked this hard. I've worked all over the world, and he's wanted this for his entire career.
Okay, we do have a developing situation. Simon, we've got a shoe repair for Coal Battle.
Okay, so that's the blacksmith. I was down there earlier today, and the blacksmith has a stall set up, so they're going to maybe do a shoe repair here on Coal Battle. And as nervous as Lonnie Briley was 4 days ago, this must be putting him over the edge right now.
Okay, let's go out to Santa Anita.
Presented by FanDuel. And it's Balladeer and Paxawallop, the 2 speedballs going out for the early lead. City Exile gets a good tracking spot in third as Paxawallop goes wide across that dirt and gets to the outside of pace-setting Balladeer. Balladeer by 2. Paxawallop will keep him company. He's under a tight hold and a length and a half back second. In behind them, City Exile gallops in third. Dicey Mochara inside Atitlan, and Maltese Falcon is 7 lengths off front-running Balladeer, who's left alone on the front end and has a 3-length lead. Paxawallop second. City Exile and Tiago Pereira galloping along in third, now 6 or 7 off the leader, and the heavy favorite Atitlan is just behind him. Dicey Mochara is next, and Maltese Falcon. No change in the running order. Balladeer doing it his way, which is on the engine. It's a 7-length cushion onto the backstretch with Paxawallop still a clear-cut second. City Exile biding his time, and Barrios lets out a notch on Atitlan, goes to put some pressure on City Exile and puts his head in front of his main rival. 2 more back to Dicey Mochara, and then it's Maltese Falcon. Less than a half mile to go in the Charles Whittingham, presented by FanDuel. Balladeer bounding along, 5-length advantage, with Pax A. Wallop called on now to get closer in second. City Exile, Atitlan, stride for stride, third and fourth. Dicey Mochara has been 5th most of the way, and 2 more to Maltese Falcon. The real running starts now. It's Balladeer. Paxawallop takes the first crack at him. Atitlan is angled to the outside, and City Exile on the fence now angling out too. They're inside the final 1/8 of a mile. Atitlan trying to get by these leaders, and here's the old pro, Dicey Mochara, who is coming late. It's Atitlan or Dicey Mochara. Atitlan, Paxawallop's fighting him. Atitlan, a hard-fought victory in the Charles Whittingham, presented by FanDuel. Paxawallop ran lights out, and Dicey Mochara was rallying late. The running time a good 1:59.92 seconds.
What a thriller. Back-to-back stakes wins, graded stakes wins for Atitlán and Hector Berrios to win it by perhaps a long nose. Back out to Churchill Downs with Gabby.
So happy to be joined by Ethan West's wife, Paige. Paige, this has got to be kind of an unreal experience. Can you put it into words what today has been like?
It's honestly a dream come true. I mean, I grew up in horse racing. You did. I'm sure, you know, like, you just dream about it. This is literally things that, like, when you go to sleep at night, you pray that, you know, you're fortunate to experience this, and I could cry. I'm so proud of Ethan.
You being his wife, you obviously know him really well. How did he sleep last night? Were the nerves flowing today?
Okay, so I think he's maybe slept a total of 12 hours since the Louisiana Derby. So last night I think he got a solid 5 minutes, so he's doing great.
What about the kids, everyone out here, the family enjoying the day and the anticipation of the Derby?
They're so excited. They were bawling, crying on the way over, all happy tears. But again, they know this is what you dream of, and they're just so excited to be a part of it.
Love that you guys are living the dream. Best of luck today.
Thank you so much.
Chunk of Gold has earned the right to be here. He's had a lot of seconds throughout the spring. Could he turn it around with a win? Okay, we want to go back to this story with Cole Battle. That is a live look at the shoe repair that is happening.
Yeah, I couldn't really see, but I think it looked like the right front. So this is something that happens, you know, relatively on a consistent basis throughout any racetrack. The blacksmith will come and fix that shoe. But more importantly, I'm more worried about Lonnie Briley. I mean, he's been so nervous. What a great story that is. But this is something you do not want to happen ahead of the Derby.
Well, Christina, you know Aaron Wellman very well. You were there when he started Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. You imagine success for him because of who he is and how he worked his way through the sport. But it has probably even exceeded his expectations, what he's been able to do managing Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners.
Yeah, and it's managing horses, and it's managing people and attracting new clients.
I love it.
I really feel for them because it is so much pressure. And as you pointed out earlier this week, Todd, pressure is a privilege. We want this. We talk about these moments. We talk about these types of horses. You want to have this opportunity. Aaron Wellman was a very successful lawyer. He was always interested in horses and in racing, and his parents made it very clear he had to get a degree, have a professional job. If he wanted to come back to horse racing, that was always going to be available to him. And he came back because he has so much passion for it. He worked for Bill Shoemaker when Bill was training. He worked for Jude Feld for a very long time, a hands-on horseman, but also a businessman. And he's brought those two forms of education together and turned out this amazing syndicate in Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. They won the Black-Eyed Susan in their first year as a partnership. He's partnered up with people he respects and people that do right by the horses, and here's the successful position that he's managed their syndicate to today.
And here's another partnership that has achieved great success over the years. Talking about West Point Thoroughbreds, managed by Terry Finley and Mark Cassey there with his rider, and they are sending out Sandman, and it looks like he's getting an indication of when they're about to get a call for riders up here. And Sandman, we talked so much, Simon, about when you look at the prep races, he had the ideal setup in the Arkansas Derby. Is it fair to take that away from him as some type of mark against because it all worked out for him?
Yeah, he did. He got an ideal setup, and it favored closers. The top two finishes were closers, right? But he might get the same setup here, right? Who's to say they're not going to go very, very quick here in the early stages and set up for him? The shoe was put back on Cole Battle, by the way, so I think we're back in business here as far as getting the call riders up here momentarily.
Christina, there's another element to this, and we experience it because we hop on the Kentucky Derby trail and we go to all these prep races, but every region takes great pride in representing their racing region at the Kentucky Derby. California, obviously, well represented this year. Bob Baffert amongst the three big chances here. But wherever the Kentucky Derby comes from, that region lays claim to it and takes great pride in it.
As well they should. You know, you're educating and teaching those champions along the way, and a big part of their story, they have to earn those points to get into the starting gate. I saw a gentleman yesterday who is at Oaklawn every single weekend to watch racing, and he doesn't miss a Kentucky Derby, and he was so excited to see not only Sandman but Coal Battle as well. I think they really embraced Coal Battle as one of the Arkansas horses this year.
Yeah, and you have Publisher, and even Tiz-tastic raced there for the early part of the 3-year-old series before going on to win the Louisiana Derby. And how about Olympic champion Simone Biles? She's just getting into this sport, but she has been given the task of calling riders up. And when they introduced her, there was a loud applause here, and we were all riveted at the Olympics as she dazzled once again. And now the talk is she going to try and do it again when they come to L.A.? We'll set that aside for just a moment, but truly one of the most famous athletes in the world is here at one of the most famous thoroughbred races in the world, the Kentucky Derby. Looking forward to Simone Biles with this call for riders up. And some of the riders still waiting here. And it looks like they all have gum. Umberto recently was given a workout to the gum. And you see Joel Rosario doing the same thing here aboard Tiz-tastic eventually. And there's Steve Asmussen. Could it finally happen? Owns just about every record amongst trainers. He's got 2 chances here to win the Kentucky Derby. He's got 2 big long shots. We are going to get back into the middle of the action with Scott Hazelton.
Yeah, right in the middle of it here with Ian Wilkes, Burnham Square. You just legged up your rider here, Brian Hernandez Jr. What was the conversation with Brian right as you legged him up?
You know, he's got to ride his race. You know, Brian knows, what to do here. He's got to work out a trip and see if we can handle the mud.
How are you handling this lead up and these final moments?
Good, I'm good. I don't have to run, so I'm good.
Has everything gone to plan for you?
Yeah, everything's gone clockwork. It's just whether we're good enough. We'll get the mile and a quarter. It's just really whether we can beat these big horses. But I think he's got a great chance.
You expect Brian to find his way down to the rail as he so often does?
That wouldn't surprise me, but I'll leave it to him. If he has to come out, he'll come out.
Thank you for the time. Best of luck.
Thanks, mate.
Ian Wilkes came up under Carl Nafsker. It is the 35th anniversary of Unbridled's win in the Kentucky Derby and one of the greatest television moments for this particular race, as ABC, covering the Triple Crown that year,
es el tema de la gran cantidad de goles que venía convirtiendo. Independiente tiene 23 goles en total, en la misma línea que Boca. Boca tiene 23, Argentinos cerró con 24 y Racing con
This is where journalism is going to be getting in the hunt. This is where he's going to be right there in striking distance. I think Junior Alvarado is going to be following Humberto Rispoli with the 18. I think Jose Ortiz on the 17 and Sandman will be following the 18 in Sovereignty with Junior Alvarado. Does the Maiden, the 13 publisher, start to come from the back of the pack? Does the 3 in Final Gambit start to make some noise? I think the Japanese horse, the 7 in Luxor Cafe, will be down in there. Even the 9 with Brian Hernandez in Burnham Square will be right there, guys. So this is where it gets interesting. We've been waiting for this moment for the last week since the Derby past performances have come out. Andy Biancone, that's how I see the Derby pace scenario setting up this year.
Guys, what an unbelievable group of horses in front of us, but I'm sticking with my top selection, the number 7 Luxor Cafe. Liked him on 4, but liked him even better after seeing him in the paddock today. Just a commanding presence, so calm, so cool, so confident. This horse is proven on the off-going as well. He's got 4 tries on it, 3 wins and a second place finish, so we know he can get the distance. He's a gorgeous son of American Pharoah out of a More Than Ready Wear. 5 wins in a row coming to the Kentucky Derby, so I think 8-1 on him is an absolute steal. He's going to be my top pick all day long, but I did really like the looks of the number 18 Sovereignty. Sovereignty is just really turned into a tremendous animal in a short period of time. He was very impressive at Gulfstream Park, but as his jockey Junior Alvarado said earlier in the week, he was kind of a lazier guy, and it took some time to really have that light bulb turn on, but the light bulb is on today. I'll tell you what, he was sharp as can be on his toes, and he looks like an absolute man in the paddock today.
Thank you, Andy. Phenomenal work and the run-up to the Kentucky Derby. Let's check in with Gabby Gaudet.
Well, it's a good thing neither of us are claustrophobic, because we were like salmon flowing upstream. Brendan, can you put a race like the Derby into words from a trainer's perspective?
No, it's unbelievable, Gabby. It is my second time, so I'm able to take it in a little more this time round. But, yeah, I mean, the atmosphere is unbelievable. I've been at lots of places all over the world, and this is second to none.
With East Avenue, tell me about the confidence coming into a race like the Derby, and with the scratch of Rodriguez, does that change your game plan at all in wanting to go to the lead?
Not hugely. I mean, we're going to go forward because he's a forward-going horse. We're going to let him into a nice rhythm. He ends up on the lead. He's on the lead. He ends up, third or fourth. I don't think he's going to be any further back than that. If he's got to push him to get up there, they're probably going too fast anyway. We could end up on the lead. We'll see. I'm going to leave it to Manny once the gate opens.
Good luck.
Thanks, Gabby.
If you had said at the beginning of the year East Avenue was going to be 39-1 in the Kentucky Derby, the response by most who follow the sport would have said, what went wrong? But in a sense, the fact that he's here has made things right, because it was always thought he would be here in the Kentucky Derby. All right, it's time to make some decisions here. We invite you to watch this race on NBC. Obviously, you can play through FanDuel. We're about 6 minutes away. But let's look at our staff, make fun of some of these selections, support some of these selections.
There's only 3 horses up there.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Luxor Cafe, 4. Sovereignty, Journalism, and Matt Bernier with Burnham Square.
Carruthers, American
Carruthers,
Cross.
Okay, no, that one we can laugh at.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, come on. Load speed.
We must have changed that this morning, because Sovereignty was at the top of his list all week.
Okay.
And I think that might have been a late adjustment based on the weather.
But getting the most is Journalism. Am I seeing that right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going with Journalism. Yep. But right there is Sovereignty, and second with 7. And that's how we see it. But the most important opinion is yours. And you can be playing it right now through FanDuel. And now we have the attention of everybody. And that's what I love about the Kentucky Derby. You think about what it takes. Just think about a group of your friends, 8 of you, trying to get you to do something in unison. And yet, after the call to post out here, when they start My Old Kentucky Home, more than 100,000 people will stop what they are doing and sing My Old Kentucky Home. That doesn't happen at any other sporting venue. It doesn't happen at any other championship, but it happens here at the Kentucky Derby. Andy?
Todd Bradcock sends out Final Gambit, a deep closer, but he's got...
The NBA playoffs are here, and I'm betting rebound props on FanDuel. After all, I am the league's greatest rebounder. Ain't that right, Chuck GPT?
Incorrect.
Well, top 5 for sure.
You are 19th on the all-time list.
9th. What about scoring?
31st and likely to be passed soon.
Assists?
No results found.
Best TV personality?
Top 1,000.
What about celebrity golfer?
Do you really want to know?
No.
New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book.
I'm Jordan Lundy. I was born to be a Philly sports fan. I was also born to be a personal injury lawyer. I guess you could say a passion for winning is in my DNA. Lundy Law, for the love of the game.
When seconds count, accuracy matters. That's why we built Storm Ranger 10 for you. To get closer and lower to severe weather than any other radar. To see details no one else can in real time. To keep you prepared and your family safe. Neighborhood by neighborhood. Storm Ranger 10. Driving the region's most accurate forecast. On air and right now on your NBC 10 app. Count on it.
Did you know that African Americans experience chronic kidney disease at a rate that's 25% higher than white Americans? And we're almost 4 times more likely to develop kidney failure. Diabetes and high blood pressure are leading causes of kidney disease, which can result in kidney failure. You have the power to check out how well your kidneys are doing. Visit linkedbylovetv.org to learn more. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
Here at Comcast, we have a wide range of opportunities. As a company, you invest a lot of time in the growth of your entry-level talent. So you have a program like Per Scholas, which actually does a lot of that for you.
At Per Scholas, we teach everything from IT support, cybersecurity, AWS, and even software engineering.
Per Scholas is covering the cost of the certifications for individuals.
From a financial standpoint, it's super beneficial to look at Per Scholas, grow your tech talent, because that's the advantage that you can get with a Per Scholas graduate.
We're going to be really cautious early in the year. They don't want this to linger.
He can be as dominant as anybody else when he's on top of his game.
The pedigree is there. They have the weapons to do so.
Phillies pregame live presented by Toyota, proud partners of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Welcome back to beautiful Oradea, Romania, and if you like exciting kickboxing action, you're in the right place. It's Dynamite Fighting Show 25, Part 3 on the card tonight. You're not going to want to miss it. In the colossal division, we have 723 pounds in the ring at one time. We had a 6'9", 377-pounder facing a 346-pounder and an ISKA super middleweight world title tonight. But right now, let's talk about this super fight. In the lightweight division, Vinicius Pereira
get a chance to receive here today, and it's so cool because it's important to know.
That's what I'm thinking. On the club face, and in fact,
fighting out of Portugal by way of Brazil, presenting Vinicius Beretta. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner,